It's Monday. It's Writer's Block. I'm Bill Reiter here in Los Angeles, California. Thank you for being here. We have a really cool show planned for you. Atlanta quarterback Matt Ryan's going to be on the program. We'll talk about the Falcons' plans this upcoming season. The NBA honors are tonight. We'll talk about that and give our own honors out. And we, speaking of honor, want to give credit to one of the great baseball players as he winds down his career. All of that and a few things more begin right now here on the show. Later tonight here in Los Angeles, California, where I'm hanging out, the NBA will hand out the biggest honors in the sport, including the MVP. And before we get into our Writer's Block NBA honors, want to just give a nod to those nominees tonight and those eventual winners by giving you at least the folks I would have voted for and also my predictions. They're the same thing here because I think I got it right. I love Giannis to the MVP. I understand that Harden had an incredible season, but for me, that Mike D'Antoni system inflates those numbers. We've seen that with Steve Nash in the past. Give me the Greek Freak for MVP. Defensive Player of the Year, I think, will be Rudy Gobert. What he did was incredible. Budenholzer is going to be the guy in Milwaukee almost certainly. Sixth Man of the Year can go a lot of directions, but Lou Williams, man, they should name the award after him. He's been so incredible year after year in that selfless role. Luka Doncic got some competition at the end of the year from Trae Young, and Most Improved Player Pascal Siakam, which didn't look like as sexy a pick at the start of the postseason when the awards were already put in, where the votes had already been tallied. They'll be revealed tonight, but they've been in for several months now. But it obviously feels right after what we saw him do in the playoffs. Just a reminder, the jump he made from the year before. And to honor the actual NBA awards, like in the NFL season a few months ago, we decided to do our own awards, and you voted on Twitter at SportsWriter, Sports R-E-I-T-E-R. So without further ado, I know a lot of the nominees are really just excited to see whether or not they're going to be honored. And we'll start with Diva of the Year. There's a lot of really good nominees here for Diva of the Year in the NBA. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, Jimmy Butler. Now, Chris Paul, two-time nominee, would have been the person I voted for. I didn't vote, didn't want to, be biased here, didn't want to sway the results. And interestingly, in a runaway, all of you made Kyrie Irving the Diva of the Year. And I get it. The dysfunction that he has showcased since leaving Boston, the notion last week, and I buy this, I've listened to it about 100 times, and he may have called in Kyrie into a Boston sports talk radio station pretending to be someone else, defending himself and giving Celtics fans a hard time. It all adds up, and we've got some examples of, maybe we should have seen this award coming, that it was Kyrie's all along, when earlier in the season, Kyrie Irving, in truly humble fashion, the humility is overwhelming, talked about how it's just not easy to be so great.
Best thing I can say is experience. We're lacking it, and because of that, we have a lot of learning to do. I don't think that some of my teammates have faced of just every single day. It's not easy to be great.
You know what? I'm going to stand down on the Chris Paul thing. You all got it right. Kyrie was the right choice. Good job. Personality of the Year. This one's a little more positive, right? Those NBA players who just epitomize the vibe, the coolness, the personality that really defines excellence around the game. There's a lot of characters who would qualify. D'Angelo Russell, interesting dark horse candidate. Luka Doncic, mesmerizing player, an interesting dude off the floor. Nikola Jokic is a guy that I would have considered voting for, but for me, Joel Embiid would have been the person I pointed toward. He's one of my favorite players in the game. Even if his act gets a little tired sometimes, you can't deny his personality, and you, the voter, actually selected him in a wide margin. Congratulations, Joel Embiid. Now, Joel, I'm not saying this is going to be the case, but your long quest to get to know Rihanna a little bit better could be helped here. Now you can tell you're the Writer's Block Personality of the Year winner. And just as a reminder of how Embiid got here, here are some classic Joel Embiid moments throughout this past season.
We definitely don't want to be in a situation like the Warriors 2 years ago.
Joel.
I was kidding, man. I tried to say.
He's a funny guy. He is a funny. I love Joel Embiid, and while that kind of personality comes off as a little pouting when things go wrong in the playoffs, there's still something about him that I find endearing and really winning, and I'm glad he got the award. Style of the Year is something that, as you can see from just looking at me, I have absolutely no perspective on. So I'm glad that we were able to defer to all of you out there who have a sense of style. And we had 4 interesting nominees for the most stylish player in the NBA this season. Dwayne Wade was on the list. You see him there looking pretty good. Russell Westbrook has a very unique sense of style, pushes the envelope. LeBron James, a very stylish guy. And James Harden, especially when you mix in the beard and whatever that Technicolor, what is that, Joseph in the Technicolor coat? I don't know. I don't think you knew either, because most of you went for Russell Westbrook. And again, I'm not going to give any sort of opinion or perspective here, because the things Westbrook wears just utterly and totally baffle me. But again, I have no sense of style. And, Russ is one of those guys who does his thing on and off the court. And congratulations to Russ. He's a nominee in a later category. We'll get into that in a little bit. That one maybe not quite as positive. Buzzer Beater of the Year is another award here on the show. There are a lot of really good candidates. You know that Kawhi, that quadruple boink, is one of the nominees to send Philly into that dark, cold, long offseason. Damian Lillard against the Thunder was a hell of a shot, and the waving goodbye to me might have been a reason to vote for it. Dwayne Wade versus the Warriors, not quite as much an impact. And just in a vacuum, Jeremy Lamb versus the Raptors, I would have strongly considered Lillard versus the Thunder, but I understand why it was Kawhi taking down the Sixers. Game 7 in the corner, fading away. Ridiculous, ridiculous shot. It's not just one of the coolest shots this year. In retrospect, it's one of the great shots of all time. And I'll hold myself accountable. I did not buy that idea, the one that you see there, when it happened, because I didn't anticipate they were going to be NBA champions. But it turns out it's one of not just the great buzzer beaters of all time, it is one of the most consequential shots in the history of the NBA. If that ball, one of those 4 times, is a centimeter in the other direction, who knows who the NBA champion is right now. I also like Rivalry of the Year, and I love that there's one guy who's in every single category. You know, sometimes all-time greats have to have a chip on their shoulder. What did Winston Churchill say? People hate you? I'm going to butcher this. Good. That means you stood for something at some time in your life. I guess Westbrook stood for a lot of things, because he's up for this with Russ versus Damian Lillard. Good rivalry. Russ versus Embiid. Good rivalry. Russ versus reporters. Okay, that's a real rivalry. I've been on the receiving end of that. And Russ versus fans. And that was a really close call, but Russ versus the media is the one that got the win. And I do know Barry Trammell really well, the columnist in Oklahoma City at the Daily Oklahoman, who Russ has gone after most of his career. I don't like it. I don't think it's respectful, but it's part of the deal and it's part of the game. And here's Russell Westbrook giving us a reminder why his rivalry with the press and Barry Trammell has made him another award winner here on Writer's Block.
What happened that sort of reversed the tone of this game?
Next question.
Yeah, Russ. The fourth quarter, you got a 15-point lead. They catch up. What happened in the last 6, 7, 8 minutes that reversed the momentum and let you guys burst back away?
Next question. From next question to next category, this is the most competitive in the NBA honors here on Writer's Block, our edition, Bum of the Year. With all respect to Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't have a chance in this category. The other 3 guys certainly all do for NBA Bum of the Year. Magic Johnson, his disappearing act and his mismanagement of the Lakers is an interesting candidate. James Dolan, just because he's James Dolan. And Chris Paul, for all the reasons we've enumerated here on the show. Again, I would have voted for Chris Paul. Many of you voted for James Dolan, but by a very thin margin. Congratulations, Magic Johnson. Your betrayal of Jeannie Buss, your incompetence in that front office, your mismanagement of LeBron James, your inability to land Anthony Davis because you colluded. Now, obviously, it happened once you left, but still, things got ugly. It has made you the NBA Bum of the Year, and this moment here is probably one of the big reasons you have been so honored.
What am I doing? You know, I got a beautiful life. So I'm going to go back to that beautiful life. And I'm looking forward to it. And somebody going to have to tell my boss, because I know she's going to be sick, but I know I couldn't face her face to face and tell her.
Much respect to whoever here at CBS Sports HQ on the graphic just put Magic Johnson being a bum, because that's what he was there, and that's why he won the award. And finally, underachiever of the Year has some very worthy nominees. Again, a very, very close category. Sort of tough to call who I would vote for if I were able to vote. The Lakers are up there. You just saw Magic win an award. The Celtics are certainly interesting. The Rockets thought they had a window, and the Thunder were remarkably disappointing. You can make a case for every one of these teams, but you, the voter in the Writer's Block NBA Honors, made a case for the Celtics and the fact that this team was supposed to have a wide open avenue to the NBA Finals, and it turned out, we didn't know at the time, obviously a chance at an NBA championship with all the injuries that befell the Warriors, but Kyrie Irving couldn't make it work. Terry Rozier was put out on a regular basis. Obviously, Al Horford, who was a glue guy there, was ready to get lost and exit stage right as soon as free agency rolled around. Danny Ainge, I have a lot of confidence in being able to turn this thing around, but the Celtics were a disaster this past year and certainly one of the great underachievers in the NBA. Congratulations. Here are all of our winners. And Chris Paul, take heart. Even though you didn't win an award this year, neither Diva of the Year nor Bum of the Year, as a two-time nominee, I want you to know we did not forget you. Congratulations to the Writer's Block NBA Honors Award winners. I know that you'll hold these awards in your heart for a very, very long time. Want to talk some NFL? He's a friend of the show. We've had him on a few times. Matt Ryan, the quarterback for the Falcons, going to join me on the program when we come back here in just a minute. All right, welcome back into the show. It's Writer's Block from Los Angeles, California. It's very exciting to be joined. Thanks to our friends at Gatorade, which ironically my kids are drinking about 100 feet that way because they're at the office today. They love Gatorade. Thanks to our friends at Gatorade. Matt Ryan, Falcons quarterback, MVP, multi-time Pro Bowler, joining us. Matt, thanks for making time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
So sometimes when you're chasing the things that you're after, the disappointments and the processes before are what can get you where you want to go. Disappointing 2018, you guys finished 7-9, missed the postseason. How would you describe last season, and how does it impact what you want to do this upcoming season?
Well, I think it certainly motivates us to want to be better than we were. I think last season we were close in a lot of ways. We had a lot of games that were tight and just couldn't find ways to win it. And we had a lot of things that we had to overcome. But we've got a good football team coming back. We got a lot of guys that have gotten healthy that are going to impact our football team. And we've got a group that's hungry and that wants to be back in the playoff mix and give ourselves an opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you referenced it there. You guys had a lot of injuries that the team suffered last year. It's not something you can control, but for a guy as competitive as you are, how frustrating is it that you're sometimes at the mercy and the whim of that sort of fate and just the injury bug that can hit an NFL team?
That's part of it. That's part of playing in this league and why, it's so difficult to win a championship. You have to have a lot of things go right for you. Unfortunately, we were just not able to overcome some of those things. We were close, very close and had opportunities, but couldn't get it done. But we got those guys back, and I feel like we've got young players who learned from that experience last year, who are going to add to the depth of our football team and make us even tougher this year. So in some ways, it can be a good thing that you develop some people along the way and you become a deeper team because of it.
Yeah, focusing on some of those guys. Maybe start with Devontae Freeman. Missed most of last season. He's back. You guys obviously lost Tevin Coleman. What kind of an impact, what kind of production do you expect from Freeman this upcoming season?
Well, Devontae's he's such an amazing player and, such a focal point of what we did offensively. He runs the ball, extremely well. He's physical, but he also catches the ball, so well out of the backfield for us. And with the receivers and the tight end that we have, he gets a lot of good matchups, whether it be on linebackers or just free areas and zone coverage. And so for him to be back and for us to be able to take advantage of some of those things is going to be big. And I expect him to have a great year. I mean, he's put in the work. He's worked extremely hard to come back from that injury, and he looked great all spring.
Matt, forgive me for the fantasy football reference, but I was able to particularly appreciate what Calvin Ridley did in his rookie year since he was on my fantasy team, and that's a really, really exciting player for you in terms of that wide receiver position. What do you expect from him in his second year in the NFL?
I think he's going to continue to be productive. I think that, a lot of that comes because he's playing next to one of the best he's playing next to the best wide receiver in the league, and he's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage. And he's so explosive and athletic that he's able to beat up on one-on-one coverage. And he did that for us last year. The thing I was most impressed was how he wasn't, scared of the moment. When he got his chances, he took full advantage of it, made plays. And I think that's going to continue for us. I think he's going to, have a great season and continue to score touchdowns and produce for us.
Speaking of Julio Jones, and no argument here on where he ranks as a wide receiver in this game, one of the oddities, statistical oddities, just how often he gets in the end zone, and sometimes casual fans or fantasy players only look at value in terms of those moments. Is it just one of those anomalies that he hasn't gotten the number of touchdowns that would correspond to his talent? What do you make of that?
Well, we were saying last year there was like I forget how many game stretch from, I guess the middle of 2017 into 2018, where he wasn't scoring touchdowns. But last year when he got his first one in Washington, I'm not sure how many he ended up with on the season. I think it might have been like 8. But his production from that point forward, it was like, the seal had been lifted and he was back scoring touchdowns the way that he's capable of. So, I kind of think it was just a fluky thing that happened in a stretch in his career, but he's going to find ways to get in the end zone for us moving forward, and he's going to score a lot of points for us.
Yeah, most obvious statement ever from a media person. He's pretty good at football. I want to ask you what your reaction was when your team, when the Falcons drafted not one but 2 offensive linemen in the first round.
I was excited. I mean, probably more so than anybody in the city of Atlanta. I appreciate the protection that we get up front. So I actually, was watching the draft and I saw Chris get drafted and I figured we were probably done that night. So I ended up going to bed and woke up the next morning to see that we had traded to get Caleb later in the first round. And it was a little bonus surprise when I woke up that morning. So I'm really excited about those guys. I think they're going to be really productive for us. They're tough, they're physical, they move well, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play behind them.
That's a pretty good way as a quarterback to go to sleep and to wake up. That's a double whammy of a great night. Good morning.
No doubt. It was like it's never happened to me like that before. So it was pretty special.
You've also got a familiar face coming back. Dirk Cutter was your offensive coordinator. I think 2012 to 2014. Obviously had that opportunity with the Bucs. He's back now. What do you make of just his return, and for you in particular, what it means to not just work with him, but work with somebody you're familiar with in that position?
Well, I think it makes it a lot easier that there's a level of familiarity between he and myself. I understand what he's like to work with during the week, how he prepares, how he game plans. He understands how I am during the week and throughout games. So there's a comfort level there. I think we've both learned a lot in the last 4 years since we've kind of gone our separate ways and competed against each other. And we're both further along at this point in our careers. So I'm excited about working with him. He brings a lot to our organization, to our team, a lot of knowledge, and it's going to be great. And he's, he was productive in Tampa. Their offenses played at a high level, scored a lot of points, and were always difficult for us to go against. And I'm excited to have him back.
Man, I know you're working with our friends at Gatorade. We appreciate them. We appreciate you and them making you available to us. Can you tell us what you're doing with Gatorade?
Well, just trying to, spread the word of staying hydrated, beating the heat during the summertime. I think that living here in Atlanta, we deal with a lot of humidity, a lot of heat, and was at a Boys and Girls Club in the city of Atlanta today to kind of promote that message of staying hydrated, being out in front of it, waking up in the morning and making sure that you're getting plenty of fluid intake, plenty of Gatorades. So you've got electrolytes in your system so that you can, be active and be outside and be productive in that kind of environment. And so I think it's an important message to pass along to kids. You want to see them safe and healthy and able to perform and do the things that, keep them active and keep them involved in sports. So it was a no-brainer for me and a lot of fun to be a part of it today.
Well, I can tell you this, on behalf of the Reiter family out west, my son and daughter basically see Gatorade as ice cream, so it's our way of tricking them into doing exactly what you're describing. So thanks to you, thanks to Gatorade for making us better parents, and thanks for making time. Good luck this upcoming season. We'd love to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Matt Ryan on the show. Really talented dude. That Atlanta team, I'm very, very high on what they're going to be about this upcoming season. And I'm very high on Inside the Numbers. We've got a surprise version for you when we come back to the program. It is Writer's Block, and we'll continue in just a minute. Welcome back into the show, and you're looking at one of the great players in the history of baseball in a very cool return to St. Louis with that Cardinals organization that he played for so long. And even though I'm a Cubs fan, I have nothing but remarkable respect for Albert Puljos and what he's accomplished. And we're going to go inside the numbers to just put into perspective what a remarkable player and what a remarkable Cardinal he's always been. So we'll go inside the numbers right now on Mr. Puljos, and we'll start at the number 4,660. It's a doozy because Puljos is second all-time in 4 major offensive categories in Cardinals history: total bases, home runs, runs driven in, and doubles. Behind only Stan Musial, he had 4,660 fewer at-bats than Stan Musial in his career in St. Louis. That is amazing. How about 34? As a Cardinal, Pujols smashed 445 home runs and drove in 1,329 runs. Only 34 players in MLB history have that many home runs and RBI in their entire career. God, the guy was so good. And still is. 7.9 is next up for Albert Pujols. We celebrate him his return first time to St. Louis since leaving. Pujols has the second best at-bats per home run in Cardinals history, averaging just 14.2 plate appearances between home runs. Only Mark McGwire had a better average with 7.9, and we all know the reason McGwire had that. Not to belabor that, but still, there is a reason he has such a advantage over Pujols. Next up is the number 3. Pujols is tied with Musial for most MVP awards in franchise history with 3. He's also the only player in Cardinals history to win both the Rookie of the Year and the MVP with the team. And finally, we'll close with 2 numbers, the numbers 18 and 52. Pujols was clutch with the Cardinals, especially in the playoffs. In his 11 years with the team, he hit 18 home runs and drove in 52 runners in the postseason. Both of those things are franchise records. Albert Pujols is, I don't know if the closest to Ted Williams that we've seen, but certainly comes close in terms of his remarkable excellence from the moment he hit the majors. And as a Cubs fan who just hated seeing the guy in a Cardinals uniform, I have nothing but respect for what he accomplished there, what he's done in Anaheim here in Southern California. He's an amazing player, and very cool to see him get that love and adulation that he certainly deserves in one of the great baseball communities and ballparks in the country, St. Louis, Missouri. Congratulations to Albert Pujols. Congratulations to our Writer's Block NBA Honors Award winners. I hope you enjoy your award. Magic Johnson, your bum of the year. Way to go, buddy. And congratulations to all the winners tonight in the actual NBA Honors. We'll keep you updated on everything that happens, breaking news, who wins, what it means here on CBS Sports HQ. So stick with us. They're taking over in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in about 90 seconds. Sportsline's coming up in 30 minutes. And I'll be back tomorrow here on the program, Writer's Block, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. I'm Bill Reiter. Thanks for hanging out.